Hello everyone, Leo here. Um, After so many testing, so many time and money, I finally created a build for Morrowind. Um, Before we start, I want to talk about the current meta that's going on right now. DK tanks with extremely high health. Um, so for um, for learning the trial, I think that is what you should be doing. That's a very good setup. I'm not against it. Don't get me wrong. Uh, but in my opinion, I think that is a temporary setup because the only support you are giving to your group with high health is the bigger igneous shields, right? So uh, in the end, it all comes down to higher scores, and higher scores are you can achieve them easier with higher DPS. So when you get comfortable with mechanics, when you learn to survive without the shield support um, from your high health DK tank, um, everyone will want higher DPS, and running really high health tank with shield spamming is not very helpful for DPS. So I think that is a temporary, uh, how can I say, I want to say solution. Um, like it's more of a temporary thing. I believe people will change and should change their builds to more group damage boost oriented sets. Um, you don't have to stack really high health and spam the shit out of Ignis Shield. Um, you can do without, and personally, I did without. I Instead of shield spamming, I boosted their DPS, and it works. You don't have to um, stack really high health to survive uh, some incoming damage. It's all about knowing the mechanics and following them properly. So, uh, I hope I made my point. I think you should go as high health tank. I think you should follow the current meta, but I'm just saying I believe it is just a temporary uh, way until people learn the fights. After some time, uh, like maybe 2 months, maybe 1 month, I don't know. I think tanks will change to more group support sets. Like I'm talking about damage support, not survivability support. So I didn't want to waste my time and money on the shield spamming builds, especially when Warden came out. I don't think uh, it is intended for dungeons to be made for only DK tanks with really high health and spamming Ignis Shield. So we know for sure it is not the. You don't have to do that. It's obvious. Um, so, anyways, that's my opinion on the current meta. What I did is I still have a decent amount of health, not as high as the extreme builds with Plague Doctor, Green Pact, and stuff. What I do is I'm uh, still at a certain decent health pool. If I want to shield people, I still can with good amount of shields, but the damage boost I give to the team is much higher. That's the difference. So, but I lose from my shield size and I am less tanky. That's the only difference. Um, okay, so let's talk about the build first. As the advantages are, this build is focused on ultimate regeneration. I will tell you why. It's not about penetration anymore. Um, it's more like it's about the CP changes, right? Uh, People don't have to spend all of their points into mighty or precise strikes or elemental expert because the diminishing returns are increased and uh, they give you less benefit the more points you spend on them. So what people do is take few points of them and put them into penetration CP like the piercing and the spell erosion, and they still keep the sharpened because especially in the new trial, synergies are nerfed. As you know, the orbs and the shards are sharing the same cooldown now, and like it's not very uh, it's not as viable as before to use sets like Alkosh and Torx Pact because you know your DDs are already penetrating all the armor with uh, some CP spent on the penetration tree. Um, so yeah, I wanted to boost the damage some other way. So I went with the ultimate regeneration. Most of you probably know I'm using Ebon's Armory with Bloodspawn and Tava's Favor, but the build is very different now. It's much more challenging to play because of the sustain nerfs. As you know, in order to uh, make Tava's Favor work, you must be using evasion. So uh, that skill costs lots of stamina and it's pretty fun actually because it's now challenging to keep your stamina up. It was so easy before. Like, you could spam whatever you want. Now you have to be careful. So it's kind of challenging and I like it. It's fun. Um, let's just jump into the stats. I'm a Dark Elf. If you can be an Imperial, you will not regret it. Imperial is the best tanking race in the game. Dark Elf actually prevents me from choosing a proper food buff, but as I said, I'm almost sure most of you are not Dark Elf. I'm sure like half of you is a Nord or Imperial, so keep them because you need some stamina bonuses. The reason is when I use a 3-stat food, my Magicka is higher than my stamina because I'm Dark Elf. I have a bit more Magicka bonus. And that prevents me from using 3-stat food because shards and orbs will not give me stamina. Like shards still do, but not as high as Magicka. So what I do is I'm using this food now with max health and max stamina. I could change to Imperial, which would benefit this build shit ton. Like it would be kinda OP, but I really like Dark Elf, so I'm not gonna change it. So all my healths are in health. All my points are in health. We have 720 magic recovery. This doesn't matter at all. You can do it 0. It really doesn't matter. We have 10k, 10.8k magicka, 48.2k health, 15.6 stamina. Maximum stamina doesn't matter much. Maximum magicka doesn't matter much. Maximum health matters a bit, but not as much. It's still a good stuff to stack. So we have spell resistance 23.7 and physical resistance 20.5. When we buff ourselves, we have 25.8 and 29k spell resistance. I'm running Ebon, obviously, and I'm a stage 4 vampire. You cannot and shouldn't bother with reducing your stage because you're a fucking tank. Like, I'm getting this question a lot. This dungeon is including lots of fire damage. Isn't it bad to be a vampire? No. Like, look at your role. You're a tank. Your job is to endure shit, not complain or bitch about it. Your job is to take the damage and survive. Don't be scared of it. Just run. You can, like, you know what I mean. Your job is to take damage, not be scared of it. That's what I'm saying. Don't be a bitch. Go vampire. You don't regret it. And with this build, if you are using this build, you will always be at stage 4. Even if you drop yourself to stage 1, you will go up to stage 4 in one fight. Because we are using Immigrating Drain, I will tell you what skill is that and why we use it. It is one of the best skills I have ever used. I'm still using it. I was using it before. It's pretty good. And I showed you my food. We are running the Lord Mundus for more health. And these are the bad boys that keeps my stamina up. These are almost free, actually completely free for me. My guildmates just send them to me instead of selling them to vendor NPCs. Anyways, these are my stats. Okay, as I said, I'm running Bloodspawn, Tawas Favor, and Ebon. And saying again, sustain is kinda tricky with this build because we are running evasion, we are running heroic slash, we are doing lots of stamina attacks. So it's kinda tricky to get your stamina high up, but if you, it's only tricky if you want to make them get the most out of the build. If you want to keep your stamina up, it is really easy with this build, like really easy. Like you can just spam balance with Ignis Shield and you're okay, and do the evasion only when it's down, and you'll be fine, no worries. But in order to get the most of this build, if you do it properly, you will have to heavy attack a couple times because we are not using Ignis Shield most of the time. I didn't say we are not using at all. Just using Ignis Shield is reducing our ultimate regeneration. That's all I'm saying. So let's take a look. Okay, I have infused and sturdy here. If you can get sturdy, it would be better. Reinforced also works. I'm also running. Let me tell you about what Bloodspawn does. It does gives you stamina recovery, which is complete shit. It doesn't do anything for you. It's not important at all. The important thing is when you take damage, you have 6% chance to generate 15 ultimate. That's what you are looking for. When you take damage, you have 6% chance to get 15 ultimate. Everything else is garbage on the set. The proc chance is low, I know. It's not very good, but it's still the only set in this game, only monster set a tank can use to increase their group's damage. I don't know about you, but in our group, we don't have Warhorn rotation. We are using the next Warhorn as soon as the major force is down. And even then, we have 100% uptime on the Warhorn because we are running Ultigen builds now. Before then, we still had the 100% uptime all anyways, but you know what I mean. it's possible to not have a Warhorn rotation and keep the Warhorn up 100%. It's not a problem. Um, so running the Ultijan builds give you higher uptime on Major Force. Okay, let's see. I explained the Bloodspawn. I'm running the Ebon set. Uh, it doesn't matter which armor part you use, just you should have two of them. They're both sturdy and enchanted with health. And I'm running 3 jewelry. All of them are healthy. You can get this set in Dark Shade Caverns. No, not Dark Shade Caverns. Cryptophytes, sorry. One or two doesn't matter. If you want purple jewelry, you should do Veteran. You can farm the armor pieces in normal mode. And Bloodspawn helmet drops from the what's that vampire asshole uh, that draws blood from virgins. I can't remember the name of it. Let me check. This dungeon, Spindle Clutch 2. It drops from the last boss, the headpiece, and the shoulder piece drops from the smallest chest in Undaunted. I think it's Maj something with starting with Maj. I don't remember the full name. So yeah, Ebon 2 sturdy, enchanted with health, and we have jewelry with enchanted with shield play. This is obviously the best thing you can get on your jewelry as an enchant. And we are running the Tawas Favor. Again, all sturdy, maximum health, enchanted. And I'm running the sturdy Tawas Favor shield. Enchanted with maximum health. Again, everything has maximum health. We are running 7 heavy. And I have a decisive weapon enchanted with weakening enchantment. It's not Crusher anymore. Because as I said, its DDs are already penetrating the armor completely if they spend their CP correctly. So it's not anymore. It's not as viable as before. It's still viable if your DDs are running precise or something. But since the Crusher affects only one target, it's not very strong in AoE situations. I hope I could make a point. On my back bar, okay, this is where it gets tricky. I have double decisive swords. I highly recommend running one shield until you get used to the fights. This is very important because dual wield reduces your resistances. It is very reckless gameplay. It took me some time to get used to this, but when I got used to this, it's just fucking insane. Double decisive swords is much more impressive than I expected. I wasn't expecting this much performance from decisive trait. Like one of them is bad, but when you combine two decisive, it's something else. Okay, Tawas Favor gives us maximum health, stamina recovery, magic recovery, and the important thing is 5 piece. When you dodge an attack, you receive the blessing of Tawa, generating 9 ultimate or 3 seconds. So this procs from the evasion skill, medium armor skill. So it's it's one of the best sets in the game for ultimate regeneration. It's actually the best set in the game for ultimate regeneration. I mean, for that purpose. So all my swords are decisive. I'm running one more awakening on my back bar for higher uptime on it, and I'm running the restore stamina glyph because there's nothing else that benefits the group. Just a bit selfish glyph, but it's still useful. And let's see, did I forget anything? Yeah, you can run a charged lightning staff with shock enchant on it for blockade, but when you use this on your back bar, you will lose the Tava's favor, fifth piece. That's a bit of an issue for me. Um, lightning blockade is still very powerful because of the heavy attack buff it recently got on the last patch. Um, so heavy attacks deal shit ton of damage against enemies with off balance now. So more off balance uptime means more DPS, but if you have enough blockades, you can run like this. I'm running like this. It's fine. No worries. You can run poisons, but they are very expensive. I don't think I will run poisons ever. Like, I don't want to spend my money on poisons. For monster set, you have another choice. You can go like this. Again, 2 sturdy, both heavy, 1 piece maximum health, 2 monster sets. Again, enchanted with health. As you see, we have 2k more health with this setup. It's a bit more tanky. You give more shield to your group. But again, blast spawn will give the most DPS. Okay, this is all for gear. Let's go to skills. I want to quickly say the passives first. Get all passives here. Get all of your class passives, basically. Get the one-hand shield passives. Get the destruction stuff, these 4, if you're gonna use the destro stuff. And dual wield, get the controlled fury. This one is not much necessary, but get this one because sometimes I'm gonna use quick cloak. It recently got a buff and it's actually a pretty good skill. And also get all the heavy armor passives. Get the vampire passives. Get the locksmith. There's only one place you can use this, but still get it. Get the fighter squilt passives, especially the banish the wicked. That's the most important one. On the mage's guild, get these 3. You can get the last one as well, but it doesn't benefit you much. On undaunted, get both passives. On support, get the Magica aid. Get your racial passives, and there's only one thing you should get in craft section, and that is medicinal use. You should get this. There is just it doesn't benefit me at all. The potion I use just gives me stamina recovery, which I already basically don't have. But just get it. Sometimes you may use a Magica potion or a 3-stat potion, and it will increase the effectiveness of the recovery bonus. Just get it, you won't regret. So let's take a look at the skills. On our front bar we have one-hand shield. It will never change. One-hand shield is just a must for tanks. First skill we have is Pierce Armor. It taunts for 15 seconds and it applies the Major Fracture and Major Breach for 12 seconds. Okay, here's something, little information. 1k penetration means 2% damage increase for DDs, like around 2%, very close to it. So taunting the boss with this will increase the all damage your DDs are doing by around 11%. So you shouldn't wait for 15 seconds to taunt again. Taunt before Major Fracture and Major Breach goes away. Make sure they are up 100%. Second skill we are using is Heroic Slash. This deals some physical damage, applies a 60% movement speed debuff. This doesn't apply to bosses, of course. And another bonus is we have the Minor Maim, which is really important because you can apply this to bosses as well. um, and it lasts 12 seconds. So it will reduce the damage done by 15%. So it's actually very good because you're not only protecting yourself from damage, you're protecting also your teammates, which is really important. Um, you also get the minor heroism, which is really important for us because it says granting you one ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 9 seconds. So that means when you cast this once, you get 6 ultimate. Like, not bad. 6 ultimate is good. Uh, just keep the minor heroism up all the time. So recast this every 9 seconds. On dual build, get the quick clock. I didn't use this much, but I have dual wield on my back bar, right? So taking 25% less damage from AoE attacks is something I might use sometime. You might want this. Um, for example, if the meteors are hitting you shit ton of damage in a rocket fight, you can reduce their damage with quick clock. And when you activate this, it gives you a major expedition bonus as well, like for 5 seconds. It's not bad skill. It's definitely a selfish skill, not supporting the group at all. Just self tankiness. But if you have survivability issues, you should give this a try. Um, let's see. On destruction stuff, we have crushing shock. This is a range interrupt. Um, this is actually a very good skill to use as a tank. Maybe you saw I was using lightning stuff for certain fights for the elemental blockade to apply the minor vulnerability and the off balance. And I said, why not crushing shock? I can interrupt stuff from far away. So you can put this on your back bar, and on warrior fight you can interrupt the fire shapers. In Helra there are lots of fire shapers. You can just interrupt them with this. It will be very uh, fun and interesting gameplay also, and it's also very useful as well for group. Your DDs don't have to do shit; they can continue dealing damage, and you do interrupting. And another skill we can use is elemental blockade. Again, as I said, off balance and minor vulnerability is still pretty good. The blockade is, I think, is a must in raids. Um, like DDs, especially the magical sorcerers, should be using blockade, lightning blockades to be exact. So it's a pretty good skill. It deals damage as well, not when you use it, but you know what I mean. Um, we have elude. This is the skill that procs the Tava's favor. You can also roll dodge. That also procs Tava's favor as well. By the way, talking about roll dodge, in the new trial, uh, the reason that put the thing that put Tava's favor in my mind was this. Uh, some of you might know Maelstrom second area, right? There are blade traps that put some kind of bleed on you. Um, they have in the neutral exactly the same ones, uh, but I'm not very Maelstrom person, but I'm not sure if you can dodge them. When you roll dodge through them, you start gaining the ultimate bonus, like the normal one when you light attack. And the good thing is when you dodge them, Tava's favor procs. Like I'm generating half of my Warhorn while going one trash to another trash pack. Like it's a very good skill, and maybe you saw the um, third boss in the new trial. There's a spider that runs around like it's an annoying shithead. Um, there are lots of blade traps there, like those spinning blades. Like the amount of ultimate you get during that fight is amazing. Like it's fucking insane. I'm not joking. Like it was like this. I popped the Warhorn, taunt boss. heroic slash, bar swap, and I do the invigorating drain with double decisive swords. And when boss gets up, I already have over 100 ultimate. Like it's kind of fucked up. Like um, it's very good, to be honest. That's why I started to use Tava's favor, and it was the most beneficial set in terms of group damage. So yeah. Okay, we have invigorating drain. Okay, this skill is very beautiful. Like, let's just read it. Consume an enemy's life force, dealing whatever magic damage and restoring 22% of your missing health, and regenerating 5 ultimate every second for 3 seconds. So basically, when you use this skill, it's basically a blood spawn proc. Every time you use this skill, if you cast it all the way, you get 15 ultimate, which is a huge number. It's not low at all. Like, and the healing is, I saved myself a lot of times with this skill. Like, how can I say? Sometimes I get some kind of burst damage and healer is out of range. I cast this skill and I'm seeing 10k ticks. 10k, 10k, 10k. One cast and I'm getting 30k healing. Like, of course you can't block it during that time, but while you are going to front bar and using Dragon Blood for a burst heal, a very big burst heal, Dragon Blood can go up to 50k, maybe more. But sometimes you won't have time. You'll be on your back bar and there will be a dot on you and you'll have 5% health. If you don't heal immediately, you'll die. This happened to me lots of times in the new trial. So I start casting the drain and I'm seeing 10k plus ticks. It saved me a lot of times. And the ultimate it gives is insane. It was just insane. I'm popping war horns all over the place. It's a very good skill. Next skill we have is Elusive Mist. This skill I actually used a lot of times, especially on the fourth boss on the new trial. Like, how can I explain? There are small robots, we call them toys in our group. Toys go to a boss, and when they reach the boss, they get empowered. And when they get empowered, um, they target some random person, go to them, explode on them, and they stun them. And the problem with that is, normally DDs are killing them, but sometimes, like rarely, um, one of them manages to slip through all the shit going through and targets you and runs to you like crazy. And the problem with that is it doesn't do much damage. It's not the problem. It knocks you down. It breaks your block, okay? And bosses on fourth boss is 3 bosses, by the way, and both tanks are keeping one of them. There's one range boss and 2 melee bosses. Both tanks are holding one of the melee bosses each. So those bosses have a heavy attack. They're something like uppercut, almost the same animation. And it deals insane amount of damage. I'm talking about 50k plus here. Sometimes 40 depending on buffs. Like, they knock you down, you can't block it. They knock you down and boss just fucking wrecks you with the heavy attack. So in order to prevent that, I put the skill on my bar. If I see a robot, if I see a toy coming at me, I pop this. It doesn't stun me. It barely does any damage. Because let's just read the thing. Dissolve into a dark mist, reducing your damage taken by 75%. 75%. Fucking insane. When you pop this, you are almost, like, nearly, I don't want to say less or more, but almost the same tankiness as you are blocking. Like, it's a very huge damage reduction. I pop this, the toy explodes on me, I don't get stunned, toy does barely any damage. Boss just does the heavy attack, hits me for I don't know, 7 8 10k something, and I keep and I don't die. So it was a skill that I actively used, and I still keep it on my back bar for just being safe, you know. It's a very good skill. I really liked using it. There's only one drawback. Uh, okay, reading the bottom text, entering this form removes and grants immunity to all disabling and immobilization effects, which is a good thing, but you can't be healed and your magic recovery is disabled. Okay, that part is the important part, right after the but. You can't be healed. That's the shitty part. So if you have low health, you are already fucked. Just accept your death. Um, yeah, or you can pop magma if you have it. Um, so yeah, if you have already low health, like 5k, and robot explodes on you and boss does a heavy attack, you're still gonna die. There's no exception. But again, something you can use when you have higher health. You might still survive with low health as well. Just better than dying, right? So, let's skip this. It also gives you the major expedition as well, but when this is active. It lasts for 4 seconds, so it's not bad. Next skill we have is Ringo Preservation. Um, this is a skill I use uh, very specific fights. Like, for example, think of mage, right? You go to middle at the in the execute phase. Everyone is stacked around the mage. You put this on the ground, and it gives everyone minor protection. This is a very good buff. Not for tanks or anyone who has high damage reduction, but because of the diminishing values, obviously. But for DDs and healers, 8% is actually a good number. Um, it is completely shit for a tank, but for DDs and healers, it can uh, it it can save them from that. So and it also reduces the roll dodge cost, which was useful at some point in PTS. Then they changed the mechanics, anyways. Um, and it lasts 20 seconds. It got a buff, maybe you don't know about it, but it lasts 20 seconds. The other morph lasts for 24 seconds, but it doesn't give the roll dodge cost reduction. And by the way, you should get this passive. It says reduces the stamina cost of your fighter skilled abilities by 15%. So this is actually around 8k stamina cost. But now, because we have this passive, it costs 6.8. Another skill we have is Extracted Entropy. If you're gonna use this skill, you put it on your front bar. You don't have to read any of that shit, just look at the bottom. While slotted, your max health is increased by 8%. You put this on your bar and your ignition shield will be higher. That's it, nothing else. Other skill we are using is Balance. Okay, more and more people started to use this skill, but I'm sure who know the skill, who actually use the skill, knows about it already, but I want to explain how balance works, because it's not in the tooltip. Balance works like this. It is scaled on your maximum health. So more health you have, more damage it will do, and more magicka it will give to you. So if you are watching this video as a DD player, or you are a tank but also have a DD, you may think like, oh, it's giving almost 6k Magica, I can use this on my Magica DD. No, you can't, because it scales with maximum health, and because I have 50k health, I'm getting 5k, 8k, 5.8k Magica. If you try to use this on a DD, it will still hit you for 4k damage, which is huge. 4k damage is a big number for a DD, but what you'll get is a shitty 2k, maybe. Like 2k Magica, and that's a maybe. Anyways, so this is not a DD skill. Don't risk your life if you are playing as a DD, and don't use balance. Uh, this is a tanking skill. Anyways, more health you have, more Magica you get. And the damage you get is only reduced by one simple thing. Mage Adept passive. Reduces the Magica and health cost of your Mage Guild abilities by 15%. So what's gonna happen is, this skill works like this. It ignores your shields. It ignores your resistances. It ignores everything. It hits you without any other thing. It hits you whatever it says. It says 9834. If I cast this, it will hit me exactly the same number. So this is oblivion damage. You can't reduce this, whatever you do. It will not work. So another benefit we get from the skill is, after the exchange is complete, you gain Major Resolve and Major Ward for 27.6 seconds, increasing your physical and spell distance by 5280, which is a really good buff for tanks. And the next thing is kinda important. If your healer is away from you and you should be healing yourself, the exchange prevents you from healing yourself for 4 seconds. That means you can still heal other people. Other people can heal you too, but you cannot heal yourself. That's really important, because sometimes you'll get a burst damage and you'll have to heal yourself immediately. If you don't know the fight, things like this can happen. Like, boss hits you with a really hard hitting attack, and just before it you used balance. You might die. Like, your health will get lowered by 10k. It's not a low number. You should use this very carefully, and that burst damage might kill you because you have lower health now. Even if you don't die, you might die from some little shit, like if you have low health, because you cannot heal yourself. You must wait for a healer to heal you. So that's something you should be careful about. Balance is overall a very good skill. This is the only reason I'm not running Magic Recovery. I depend completely on the skill. My stamina regeneration is dependent on my heavy attacks, my igneous shield, and my ultimate. But my Magica is completely dependent on balance. My recovery is almost shit, like 700. It's like nothing. Okay, on Undaunted we have Sanguine Altar. Conjure a fountain of blood to apply minor life steal to enemies in the area, healing you and your allies for 600 health for every 1 second when damaging them. So, okay, this looks like a small healing, right? I know, but look at the duration. That thing, 46 seconds, that is the important thing that makes the skill so good. You put this on the ground, and it's done. It's there for almost 1 minute. It's there for 46 seconds. You do healing to everyone, every single person in the raid who attacks the boss. That 600 healing can save someone's health. It happens. This is a small but powerful healing. Small, consistent, powerful. If you can, use it. Inner Rage. This is our range taunt. Uh, just just range taunt. There nothing else to say. 50, lasts for 15 seconds. Gives a chance to use a synergy for Moonlancer users, I guess, or whatever. It's just a range taunt. And we have Energy Orb. So the other morph, the one tanks use, is complete garbage now, because it does damage. It doesn't do anything. Okay, it says project a globe of regeneration that slowly floats forward, healing 400 health every 0.5 seconds to you and nearby allies. So this does some kind of healing. It's a very low healing because I have disgusting magical pool, but it's still something. I'm not looking forward to damage. That's so. The important thing here is an ally near the globe can activate the healing combustion energy, causing the orb to explode and heal for whatever health to nearby allies, and restore 4k magic or stamina to them, whichever maximum is higher. So you throw this, some DD who wants magic or stamina pops this and gets 4k. 4k magica or stamina. So this is kind of a sustain support skill. Personally, I didn't use this skill once after Morrowind dropped, because everyone is running heavy attack builds, and heavy attack builds do not need orbs. They just don't need. Yeah. Okay, here we have aggressive horn. Sound a war horn to rally your forces, increasing you and your allies max magica and max stamina by 10%, and granting minor toughness, increasing your max health by 10% for 30 seconds. You and your allies gain major force, increasing your critical damage down by 15% for 9.5 seconds. So there's a set that drops in Morrowind, and everyone is crazy about that set because it gives minor toughness. People who didn't read the patch notes bought that set like crazy. They didn't know it's the same with minor toughness. They thought it would be better. It's not, because it's the same buff as aggressive horn. It's like using Chudan on tank. It's like using Slime Crow on a Nightblade. You know what I mean? You get the same thing from a skill. So there's no point. Anyway, this is the best ultimate you can use in this game as a PvE tank. Best skill, best ultimate in the game. We are running Ultigen build to use this skill more often. That's the thing. Another skill, retreating maneuver. Mobilize your forces, granting major expedition and major gallop to you and your group, increasing your group movement speed, by 30% and mounted speed by 30%. Okay, these are nice. This is something you want for speedruns, right? Obviously. But here's the thing. Also grants immunity to snares and immobilizations, removing any already applied. You will use the skill in the new trial. Keep what I just said in mind. You will use this skill in the new trial. Keep it on your mind. Okay, efficient purge. I was using cleanse. I'm not doing that anymore because of the sustain nerfs. I don't want to spend 9k magica on one single skill. Like it's all of my magica pool. I'm not gonna do that. Efficient purge. This is better. I can use this more often. And again, on the first boss of the new trial, you will be basically spamming the shit out of this skill. So yeah, get used to this. Get the skill immediately and morph it to efficient purge. You will be using this skill a lot on the first boss of neutral. This removes negative effects and reduces the duration of negative effects for the next 6 seconds. This will be very useful. Believe me. Get it and morph it as soon as possible. Next skill we have Stalwart Guards. This is something I rarely use, but I use it on the last boss of the new trial. You use it to increase damage of a DD, or you give it to your healer, so you protect them and make them give more healing with their critical heals. Because when you put this on someone, you also give them minor force, which increases their critical strike damage by 10%. This also applies to heals as well. So yeah, you know what I mean. So the main reason we are using this is you put this on someone and 30% of their damage taken is transferred to you. That's the good part. And the even better part is they take the damage, they mitigate it, you take 30% of the mitigated damage, right? Then you mitigate that damage again. So like let's say the DD you put this skill on is taking a hit that is for 100k, let's say. The base damage is 100k. For example, I'm just giving you an example. This doesn't take the 30k exactly to you. Your DD mitigates it. For example, your DD took 50k damage from it and still died, for example. You take 30% of that 50k and then you mitigate it again. So you'll be getting like 16, 17, something like that. You know what I mean. Anyways. There isn't any active skills, other active skills to mention. This is what I use. Did I mention chains? I don't think I did. I didn't, yes. Okay, for class skills, we have Engulfing Flames. This is more of a pledge skill. In trials, you should have a Magica DK that uses this skill, because the important part is it's not about dealing damage. It's about the buffing damage of your DDs. Affected enemies take 10% more damage from all fire damage attacks. You probably will have a Magica DK in your raid, but sometimes you do not have the same thing on a pledge. Sometimes there will be Magica Nightblades, Magica Templars, or Sorcerers, whatever. They'll be running flame damage abilities, and when you put this on the enemy, they will do more damage with those with their fire abilities. So that's a really good boost. 10% is a really huge increase. Another skill we have is Unrelenting Grip. Launch a Fury Chain to grasp and pull an enemy to you. If the target cannot be pulled, you restore 100% of the ability's cost as Magica. So if you can't pull, you get the Magica cost back. So that's a very good thing. So this is one of the best skills in the game for gathering trash all together, so your DDs can nuke them down in AoE. So chains is very useful utility skill. Like you must have this. There's no other way. On Draconic Power we have Choking Talons. This is an AoE route. Like you chain all of them, for example, into one position and you talon them, and that will prevent them from moving. But the good thing about Choking Talons is you give them minor maim as well. It's the same as Heroic Slash, but Heroic Slash is single target. Choking Talons is AoE. You can use the skill in every trash fight, in every raid. Uh, like it doesn't matter. Uh, it says you don't have to root your enemies to give them minor maim. The skill gives it anyway. It doesn't matter. The skill will always give minor maim on the enemy. So yeah. Another skill we have is Green Dragon Blood. This is a very very good skill. Um, this is a huge burst heal. Like I see myself healing for over 50k with this skill. It's just fucking insane. Um, and it activates the Burning Heart. Now the thing is, when you have this thing, Green Dragon Blood gives you minor vitality, right? That's 8% healing received. And when you combine it with Burning Heart, it says increases your healing received by 12% while the Draconic ability is active. So this is a Draconic power ability. So 8% from here and 20% from, 12% from here. That makes a total of 20% healing taken. That is an that is a very big number. That will make you insanely tanky. So yeah, Green Dragon Blood, Burst Heal, Healing Taken buff. Nice skill overall. Dragon Fire skill. There's only one place to use this skill, and it's in Atarian Archive. There's a boss that splits the ghost lady. I don't remember the name. She just shoots you some stuff, right? And you can reflect them. And when you reflect them, they do like 90k damage, 90, 80, something like that. So that's free DPS for group. If you keep the skill up through all the fight, you'll be contributing to group DPS a lot. Like just this skill can do 10k DPS itself. It's a very good skill, but only in that fight. There's nothing else, nowhere else to use this, really. But you should have it, really, just for that fight. Deep Breath. This is another utility skill, very useful. When you interrupt something, you set them off balance. So you can interrupt everything around you at the same time. For example, think of Vmol twins, right? If you are tanking the white boss, there are lots of there might be 3 ads at the same time beaming. You just do the skill once and they are all interrupted, and you give them off balance as well for 2 seconds, but still off balance. So it's a good skill overall, but again, you can just bash the fuck out of your enemy until it stops. That works as well. But this kinda has a range, and you can interrupt things behind you. You don't have to look at them. So this is kind of a good skill. I personally don't use it much, but I still keep it. I still have it because sometimes I might have to use it. It's a nice utility skill. And we have Magma Shell. Ignite the molten lava in your veins, limiting incoming damage to 3% of your max health, and dealing 500 flame damage to nearby enemies each second for 10 seconds. When activated, nearby allies gain a damage shield for 100% of their max health for 9 seconds. So this is kinda oh shit moment skill. When you pop this, you are basically immortal, but mechanics will kill you whatever you do. They will just kill you. There's no point in, you know what I mean. So this is just the oh shit moment skill. When your healer is down, when you get a really high damaging hit and healer is out of range, whatever, only then you should use this skill. And we have Igneous Shield. This is the skill that made DKs even more popular in the Morrowind patch, because you stack health and this thing becomes bigger. So my shield absorbs 8k damage because I don't spend much into Bastion. Um, I don't spam the shield, but if I want to, if I'm gonna spam my shield, what I do is I put this on, I put this on. No, not this. Fucking shithead. Where's the... Okay, here we go. I'm sorry about that. Okay, I put this, and I put this here, spend 100 points in Bastion and spam the shit out of it. That's how you use shields. If you want to spam shield and protect people, you still can do it. In this build right now, you see that's 9k shield, right? I don't have points in Bastion. Like I have 8%, I think, only 8%, and it goes up to what, 25, I think. Yeah, so you can do much more if you want, but I don't like to spam. So yeah. Anyways, okay, Igneous Shield will also give you ultimate because Mountain Blessing passive. If you are in combat, you also generate 3 ultimates. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. And it also gives your team weapon damage as well, 5%. Minor brutality, but that's not important. You get that from Magica DKs when they use Eruption. Another thing is we have Helping Hands. When you cast an alternate ability like Igneous Shield, you restore 1k stamina. So this is how you permablock with a DK. You permablock, cast Igneous Shield. That's how you manage your DK while you are permablocking. So yeah. Okay, how you put your skills depends on how you play in that fight. Like most of the time, what I do is like something like this. Most of the time. Sometimes I use guard, like I put this here, right? I put this here, and I again put guard here. So I have my major resist buffs, the elude to proc Taos Favor, and I had 20% healing taken, and still have my invigorating drain. So yeah, you know what I mean. You can switch it up. You can take off these skills from your back bar and put Purge. You can put Purge on your front bar. That works as well. The downside of guard is it takes up 2 slots because you have to double wear it. And by the way, about guard, if you're gonna take guard, take Stalwart guard, because Mystic guard doesn't do shit. It's not the skill you want. Stalwart will give more DPS to your DDs. Stalwart will give more healing capabilities to your healers. But most of the time when you use guard, it will be on a DD to make them do more DPS. So Mystic guard doesn't do shit. Even as an off tank, you shouldn't use Mystic guard, because most off tanks, what they are doing now is they don't guard main tanks. Main tanks are not needed to be guarded anymore. Like, I wasn't using guard anyways, but you know what I mean. It's more like off tanks are running guard on DDs as well. Let's go to CP now. Okay, let's. I'm gonna start with the blue tree. 49 Blast, 41 Elfborn. By the way, there are things called jump points. You should give them a look. I'm gonna put some links in the description. You should read them as soon as possible. Like, pause the video right now and go read every one of the links I put in the description. Okay, those are very important. They will help you a lot with your terror crafting, with your gameplay, everything. So make sure you check them out. Don't worry, it's not a video on my channel. It's some forum posts that is very informative. You should read them. Anyways, 49 Blast, 41 Elfborn, and we have. Okay, doesn't matter. However you spend your points here, it really doesn't matter. I just wanted to get this. Because of the diminishing returns, I'm not getting much bonus to my healing. Like, I can spend 50 more here and get 4% more healing. Like, that's like shit. Like, I'm gonna spend 50 points for 4% healing? No way. That's not gonna happen. So what I did was 120 here to get last stand, because what I noticed is there are lots of burst damage incoming in the new trial, so I wanted to make use of that. My health was dropping under 20% lots of times, so what I did was get this passive and get my ulti going even more. So that's a good thing. As I said, it doesn't matter how you spend your point here. It really doesn't. Okay, on red CP, we have kind of a different thing. Especially in the new trial, there are damage over time effects, there are physical, there are poison damages, there are shock damage, there are flame damage. There's shit ton of thing going on. So, and the most important one is direct damage you get here is, you get there is a lot. Like, you get hit by lots of things. That does burst damage. So, most of my points went to Ironclad, which gave me 20% damage reduction. Okay, what you see here is important. It goes up to 25%, but only 55 gave me 20. So almost 50 more points here would give you only 5% more. So spend those points somewhere else. Get whatever you can. For me, it was 20%. You can split them up however you want. It really doesn't matter. I did 37, 9% on each, Elemental and Hardy, and 18 points in Thick Skinned. And I have some Bastion, 8%, I have some Quick Recovery, 10%, and because of the jump points, there's nothing else to spend my points on. So I put one in Heavy Armor Focus. It really doesn't do much difference. It will not, but I'm not gonna keep 1 point unspent, you know. What you should do for more group support is take your points off Quick Recovery and put them in Bastion. That will be much more beneficial to your group. 61 points in Bastion, to be exact. That should give you 18%, I think, or 19. I'm not completely sure. Something around that number. Okay, on green tree, I have 13 Warlord, 6% break free cost reduction, 6% bash cost reduction, 4% sprint reduction. In the new trial, I break free, I bash a lot, and I sprint. I do all these three. I have 75 tenacity for Master Gatherer, to be honest, so I really wouldn't put any points in here, but I really want this. I didn't put any Arcans because I have low magic recovery, so I don't see much use for that. Okay, on here, best option you have is Shadow Ward. You see, reduces reduces the cost of block by 24%. When you put 20 more points here, you get only 1% more. So fuck that shit. I'm not doing that. 20%, 20 points going somewhere else. So 24% from here. You can even reduce this even more, but it's fine. And tumbling 11% because I roll dodge shit ton of times in there. Like really, especially to Proctav's favor, I roll dodge a lot. So it's a very good skill here. It's a very good tree. Put many points as you can. Actually, you can, if you don't care about tenacity, put all of them here. Like I really do roll dodge a lot. Okay, that's all the CP. I'm not sure if I skipped something. If I did, I'm sorry. Anyways, this should be all, I think. I did lots of setups. Like I did probably 5 or 6 setups, and went to the trial in veteran mode and tested every one of them. And this gave me the best result. This gave my group the highest DPS. This gave me the most fun gameplay. This gave me the most challenge. This will be the build I'm using from now on. If there's a change, I will definitely update, and there'll be a written guide in Tamriel Foundry. I'll try to update it as soon as possible. Okay, that's all. Really, thank you for watching. Yeah, see you later. Take care.